Hello everyone, welcome to Winterton. It's a voiceover vlog this week. I only had a short while for this visit and it was really quite windy. So I didn't want to stress about recording levels and getting the sounds right. I wanted to concentrate on filming and on photography. So I'm going to do a bit of a voiceover, something different for this week. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the various scenes I found during the evening and have a little chat about them, what works, what doesn't, and I think, yeah, like I say, I just think that'll be something different. So join me in one of my favourite places, and we're going to start with this lovely scene of the dunes, which was only 2 minutes from the car. The decision I had to make here was whether to stay and enjoy this lovely light or go round to the main part of the beach and start shooting. There was a lot of cloud when I turned up, and I thought, oh, this may be the only bit of light I get. So I thought in the end it'd be best to stay put. You've seen an image, make those and get yourself started. So yes, it was a case of putting on the 6-stopper, trying to accentuate that lovely movement in the grasses, using the electric cable sign as a sort of a graphic element, and in one of the images obviously using that lovely path as a lead in up to the sign, which I thought worked rather nicely. Also made a very nice black and white conversion in my opinion. So that's my start, and then after that it was a case of then walking through to the main part of the beach and looking out to the North Sea. Well guys, this shot is never going to win any prizes or anything, but it's just a lovely scene overlooking the dunes here at Winterton. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's never a chore for me to turn up and look at this. It's just a place, as you know, that is very special to me, and I love photographing. So this was just a quick shot, just a general shot to just get the feel of the place. I think it's, in all honesty, it's a better film clip than it is actually a shot. But nevertheless, couldn't resist taking it because I thought the light was absolutely beautiful. So what I did from here was I moved lower down to the dunes below to the right in this shot and looked for hopefully some lovely movement and some lovely light on the dunes. So let's go have a little walk down there and see what we can see down there. And yeah, beautiful evening as you can see. So I'm here now at the lower level. It's absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful light. The clouds out to sea are gorgeous, beautiful shapes. Everything's beautiful. Oh no, it's just a really nice scene. The movement is lovely. I did try this shot initially without filters, or without a stopper filter, should I say, and I didn't find the movement quite enough. So what I did, I reached for the 6-stopper, and that really pushed the movement in the grasses. I really do like them to have that sort of almost fluffy type feel when I want some movement in the shots. So yeah, rather happy with this. Looking at it now, maybe I could have composed a bit differently here and there, but I do like the fact that the grasses are separated. There's area of grasses, there's area of sand, so everything's sort of layered. Yeah, I'm rather happy with it. Unfortunately, I was keeping an eye on the light, and I knew it was going to probably get lost for about maybe quite a while, maybe up to 20 minutes. So I've gone on to another couple of images here that I'm going to put up. But I think they really could have done with light. The ideas are there, and I can see what I was going for, but it didn't really work out for those. What I also found was once the light had gone, that the white patches in the clouds, the really bright areas, were really difficult to control. So that was a bit of a problem. But like I say, I've just put these up as sort of, you know, these are the images I tried next, but they didn't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to where it got a little bit more spectacular, and things really did change to a level that I really didn't think they were going to. I thought I was just going to have a nice sort of regular evening with a nice bit of light, but things got rather beautiful in all honesty. So let's see what happened. Looking to the north, it was lovely to see this colour developing. Absolutely beautiful colours in the clouds. I'll be honest, at the time I didn't think there was going to be any light come through for the rest of the day. There seems to be a lovely rainstorm out to sea there behind all the boats there, and I thought this would be nice. I've got my grasses. There's some lovely movement tonight. I'll have a lovely coloured sky behind. I'm going to be a happy bunny. But unfortunately, for this first shot and this first composition that I'm showing you with the filming and with the still image, just shows a little bit of a mistake. I'm still, you know, a little bit rusty with the old photography at the moment, and what I've done here is I've just put a great big block at the front right of the image. Now, I'm not saying it's a huge block of a single colour. There are subtle tones, there's shadows, there's a lovely bit of movement, but it's all a little bit like, whoa, there's no way of getting through there. There's no leading lines or anything. There's no sand path through the dunes. It's just a little bit thoughtless, in all honesty. So I was probably carried away with the moment of the light, but I got a little bit better. But initially this is a bit of a disappointment, this first shot, but nonetheless, as you can see, the light is getting quite lovely. Well, I hope you can agree that the composition is better in this clip. What I've done is, obviously, I've used the dunes as frames, as framing devices. I've used those lovely shapes of dunes at the bottom. There's a lovely little section of dunes on the right-hand side, which is sort of a frame marker. There's a separation with the area of dunes in front of me and the area of dunes in the distance, where there's an area of sand. So everything now is much more pleasing and more layered. The light is still subtle, there's beautiful movement, and I'm really, really happy with these shots. But the light is going to improve, and I would have been happy with this, but the light got better. So let's move on to where it gets a little bit more spectacular. Of course, that all depends on what your definition of spectacular light is. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. I'm happy with how I set up, happy with the composition, and it was just a case of keeping an eye on the area on the left. You've obviously got some very, very bright yellows and oranges. Be very, very careful with your exposure. You don't want the colours looking all strange. Filtration, I just put on a 1-stop just to try and hold that back. I didn't want to falsely darken the clouds on the right hand side or in towards the middle and the right hand side of the image. I just wanted to keep it looking subtle and keep it looking natural, because that's my style. So I'm really, really pleased with how these came out. My preference of the two images I took here is the second one, the one where there's less light on the foreground dunes. That appeals to my photographic style. I do like the first image. I do like all that beautiful light, but I just like the more subtle tones of the second image. But I'm very pleased with these. And from there, I moved a little bit further onto the edge of the dunes, and again, enjoyed this beautiful light. Yeah, quite a nice scene this. I like the curve of the dunes as it sort of naturally curves around. The shoreline obviously curves around, and it all goes towards that beautiful luminance on the left. Quite happy with both the images I've taken. I must admit, I prefer the first one. It's a little bit more subtle. The second one has got that lovely area of underlit, beautiful orange cloud, but I just prefer the first one, and just very happy with these two. So what more can I say? I have a very simple approach to processing, so this image is a bit of a rarity for me. It's actually produced in Lightroom HDR, and it's come out really well. I've done images before and not really liked how they've looked, but this one has done a really good job. My goal for this image was to obviously have definition in the dunes and to be able to look into them. I don't want to open them up so they look unnatural, but I just want to be able to see the shapes and colours. And it's worked really well, so I can't complain. It's not the greatest composition, shall we say, but it's restored my faith in using the old Lightroom HDR function. So maybe I'll have a go with that a bit more when I come across scenes like this. Wow, that really is quite a sky. I was so lucky, and it was such a privilege to be out in it. The shot that's coming up, I cocked it up. It's quite pleasant. It's quite a nice shot, but I knew this little patch of light, or those lovely colours in the clouds and in the sky there, was going to be quite fleeting, and I couldn't really get anywhere in time where I'd have, got a nice setup. So I hurried, and I think it shows, which is a pity because that sky behind is absolutely fantastic. But that's one of those things. Sometimes, when we're chasing light, we can't quite get to that place. So we sort of have a bit of a, shall we say, a compromise. And I think this compromise hasn't quite worked, which is a great pity, but that's one of those things. But I hear the sea calling me. Those clouds out to sea look absolutely beautiful. So it's time I went and got myself on the shoreline and did some nice long exposure stuff. And that would be a lovely end to the day. Twilight light, a beautiful cloudscape, a choppy sea. Yeah, happy with this. I absolutely love blue light. I've always liked blue light images. So I was really happy to be at the shoreline here, taking some long exposure images and some abstracts. I started off by facing north actually, and the cloudscape there is absolutely gorgeous. And then I tried shooting south, because there were some lovely magenta tones in the sky, but didn't quite work for me. But like I say, the ones facing north, absolutely beautiful. 6 stopper images, but there's enough definition in the waves so they don't go too milky. I don't want the waves going milky on a shoreline shot. I want to see the waves breaking and I want to see shapes. And it worked really nicely. So I was very pleased with those. From there, I moved on to shooting more abstract images. So I was basically shooting down at the beach, so at the sand with the waves coming in, and tried some long exposures there. And I think they've been quite effective. Very, very nice shapes, some very unusual shapes. Like I say, they're just abstracts, and it's just something to do at the end of the day where, you know, the pressure's off, you've got some nice shots, and you can have a little bit of experimentation. So I think these work quite nicely. From there, I just did a few more final long exposure images, and again, I think they've turned out rather nicely. The old blue, I just love it. As I said before, I just love blue, and I think this is a really, really fitting end to the day. So thank you very much for joining me. It's very, very difficult doing voiceover vlogs, but I hope I've got through this one, and I hope you guys have got through it to the images at the end, because they give me as much pleasure as the images when they were spectacular light. So once again, thank you ever so much, and I hope to see you soon. Look after yourselves. Take care. Bye bye.